Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nice. Let's get this video started. So, another video on Lance today. We're going to be talking about Insta-Block, and I sort of give you guys some advice, or I guess some tips, on how you can kind of try to integrate Insta-Block into your gameplay naturally. Especially if you're an older Lance player like me, you might be struggling to sort of, and if you weren't, you know, like in was it Adept? Was it Adept style that had Insta-Block before? If you weren't like an Adept Lancer in the past, or let's say you're from Monster Hunter World, you're a Monster Hunter World player, you might be struggling to fit Insta-Block into your gameplay naturally, and you might be rather frustrated with that, and I've certainly struggled with it myself. Especially, you know, I played a lot of Monster Hunter World. I spent like 2,000 hours playing World Lance, because World Lance is, in my opinion, still the best iteration of Lance to date. But getting into it, so and the first thing I'm going to recommend is sort of a more general tip, and this is something I do with all monsters, all weapons, is sort of essentially pick out certain attacks that the monster does to deal with in specific ways, right? And in the case of Lance, one of those specific ways can be to insta-block it, right? But to give an even more broad example, I think Chameleos is a great example here from me. So, because the way I deal with Chameleos is, specifically talking about Chameleos is body slams, right? So what I do is I will insta-block the first body slam, and I will anchor rage the second. I always do this. This is always how I deal with Chameleos, is double body slams. Or the body slam in general is something I always insta-block the first, and then anchor rage the second if there is one, right? Some other things, you know, when like Rajang is doing his like fist slams as he's coming towards you, or his fist swings, I mean. He does a slam at the end. That slam is very easy to insta-block, especially if you just like backdash away from him when he starts it. Very easy to insta-block that attack. You should always do it. And you know, then just like some other attacks that do tons of chip damage, right? You know, like Magnum Malo when he does his big like diving slam, right? Stuff like that, right? So I picked those attacks and it's like, okay, I'm always going to insta-block those attacks, either because I know I can easily get good damage on cross sweep backwards, or because like it's just a high chip attack and I don't want to take the chip damage, right? So I'll always insta-block those attacks. And another good example is Malzeno when he's doing his tail stabs, his flying tail stabs, you know what I'm talking about? I always insta-block those because they're pretty easy to insta-block. So just simply pick attacks that you're like, okay, I'm going to insta-block that attack, right? And you know, you can do this for anchor rage as well. Something I also do is I pick certain attacks to anchor rage. So that way I can sort of maintain my anchor rage uptime without having to think about it so much, right? I don't have to pay too much attention to if I have my buff or not. Just I see an attack, I anchor rage that attack, right? But moving on to the next thing I want to talk about is, and I've talked about this before, is the counter thrust insta-block option link, right? And this is even more useful on shield tackle than it is guard dash, but it's still pretty useful in guard dash as well. But if you are playing shield tackle, you'll know that you can go into insta-block quite quickly after shield tackle, right? Quite quickly, as you can see, if you're just holding the button, it doesn't take very long to go into insta-block. But one thing you can do is if an attack is coming to you, you can just simply wait and then press the counter thrust option, because if you are using insta-block, you cannot go into counter thrust from neutral. And because shield tackle recovers so quickly, you actually go into neutral very quickly, right? So if an attack is coming and you haven't recovered from shield tackle and you try to counter thrust, you'll counter thrust. And if you shield tackle and if you have recovered, you'll insta guard or insta-block, right? And this can be used in any situation where you can counter thrust, right? So this can be used after pokes, you know, after literally anything that can cancel in a counter thrust, you can do this, right? And the only change you have to make to your playstyle is to just be slightly more patient when dealing with monsters' attacks. And I will say, if you're like me and you've been playing a lot of shield tackle because you like shield tackle, and I will say, in my opinion, shield tackle is the better option for casual players. But if you are using shield tackle, you might be in the habit of just using shield tackle to go through attacks where previously you might have counter thrusted those attacks, right? I do this all the time. It's a very bad habit. So one thing you can do is try to break that habit of just simply shield tackling through attacks, and try to use shield tackle more for its intended purpose of, you know, repositioning and being more of an emergency block. And if you don't need to reposition, just simply you know, try to counter thrust or try to insta block instead, right? Now, like if you know for certain you can't Insta-Block it, you can do a shield tackle instead, right? But I'm just saying, if you have time, just be a little more patient, slightly delay what you're going to do, and then maybe get an Insta-Block instead, right? Because cross sweep is your biggest damage option, right? Cross sweep, it's like a truck. It does tons of damage. It's very, very, very strong. Even on elemental lance, it's still your best damage option, even though it favors raw over elemental. But it's very, very strong, and the more you can fit it into your gameplay, the better, right? And I will say, if you want more details on the option select, I have a whole video about it. You can go watch that. I'll try to remember to put the link in the description. But that's going to be pretty much it for this video, guys. Okay, I guess I will. If you are using shield guard dash, like one good place to use it would be like at the end of your standard combo, right? I guess I should just talk about that. If you're doing like leaping thrust and the charge sweep, like you can use it right there, right? That would be like, if you're using guard dash where you want to use it, right? And that's it. Now that's going to be all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. So, you didn't have a good one, everybody.